I have shows and topics.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Monday, Tuesday,
Happy days.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Happy days.
Friday, whatever.
Happy days.
What a day. Na, 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 na.
I love you.
I love you too.
Best known as the mom from Happy Days, and she is a delightful 89-year young Marion Ross to my studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Dr. Marissa, this is such a treat for me.
Oh.
My goodness, you're a wonderment.
Which is exactly the kind of guest that I like. Those who have gone through life, good and bad, and then taken those experiences to alchemize them into the person they are now and doing good on the planet. I'd like you to welcome Corey Feldman.
If you're grateful for it and you say right away, thank you, God. Oh, my God, it's so beautiful. I'm so blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then guess what? More good things will come to you.
Does this sound familiar at all? She's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
On and supporting cancer schmance. I really appreciate it.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it.
Okay.
Instead of a cause for it.
This is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and then end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else. Right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
you are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. But I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so I
Okay,
can come
okay,
over.
come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa.
the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, T-Live, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. Why? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So I have topics and guests for you to that end for the last 606 consecutive weeks. And I'm so grateful for all of the really fabulous guests that I've had. You saw them in the extended intro that was a little bit of technical difficulties, but I'm just so grateful that we do have technology that can broadcast us, especially on Tuesdays. And we got a heart on that one. Thank you for that. Someone also gave me the finger, not that finger. Thank you for streaming in and doing your reactions on the stream. If you go to YouTube, this is a live show there where you can watch and listen, or on KCAA, which is Audible, just like iHeartRadio and Spotify. So please do free subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can enjoy special Tuesday series called Step Up to Your Best Life with Dr. Marissa and
Beth Linder-Moss,
who is streaming in from Ohio today. So, hi, Beth. So glad that you're here.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome back to the studio. And let's just jump right into breakfast. And what are 8 specific things that we are grateful for that are happening outside of ourselves? And then we go to the bottom of the mountain, which is what we appreciate about ourselves. This little discipline I've been doing for the last year, going on the 2nd year of doing this first thing in the morning to balance out all the readily available bad news that's out there, so that instead of MS, meaningless scrolling, you are tuned in here and purposefully choosing things to be grateful for. I will start with, I am grateful for my co-host, Beth Linder-Moss, who is a great example of, no matter what, she's going to make healthy choices. And with no sarcasm in that. What are you grateful for?
I am going to say I'm very grateful for the Ronald McDonald House. So I'm going to give a huge shout out to, because I'm in Ohio and I'm at the Ronald McDonald House because of my daughter who had a procedure here. So I am extremely grateful for them. And they actually are the largest Ronald McDonald House in the world that we're staying at. They just reopened a whole new section, and it's actually really nice here. So
wonderful. I actually covered a story where they opened one down here. I think it was in Anaheim several years ago. And yes, kudos to Ronald McDonald House. I'm giving them the Dr. Marissa Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award, not just because that my co-host is there being treated and during this time of a little bit of stress, to the entire organization and what they do. And deep breath in and releasing wisdom, peace, and comfort to you and your family as your daughter just is unique, right? And this doesn't happen to a lot. Now, this is one of the twins, right? I don't know how personally you want to talk about it, but I do feel like
I can talk. So one of my twins, they're almost 18 actually, almost 2 years ago, had like a virus of some sort and ended up with gastroparesis, which means that her stomach is partially paralyzed. So for the past 2 years, she has been battling with this, ended up with feeding tubes, something we never thought we would be in. She was like a star athlete, and then the whole world just kind of turned around, but she has an amazing attitude, and she just got a gastric pacemaker put in. So that's why we're in Ohio, because we normally go to CHOP, but CHOP doesn't do this procedure. So thank goodness for Ronald McDonald, because we're here for 3 weeks. We went home, and then we had a complication, so we came back. So it's very nice, and it's really nice because you're with other families, and we're also across the street from the hospital. So it's really great over here. But so yeah, that's her journey. So hopefully the goal is within the next months, she'll be able to eat solid food again.
Wow. And this is what I mean about my co-host. I had no idea that she, on top of everything that she was doing, was dealing with this, because this is definitely not something you plan for, nor are you terribly like, oh, yay, about. And I knew when she contacted me about the last show that it was going to be difficult. And that's why she wasn't here with us at the beginning of the month. But I'm so glad that you're here now. And what is your twin's name?
It's Chloe.
Oh yes, of course. This is my daughter, because my daughter's name is Chloe. So the Chloe, and I'm grateful that that your daughter has a lot of that your daughter has a positive attitude, and she gets that obviously from her mom. I'm grateful that 5 years ago, my daughter was in a horrific, unexpected accident and fractured her neck and her wrist in a car accident. So, folks, you just never know, which is why both of us are probably two of the most positive people on the planet, because you just don't know. And worrying about things that haven't happened in Native America says, not that we worried about it and it came true, but worry is like a prayer for bad things to happen. And worry worry is like living in the worry prattle of your mind is like sitting in front of the Grand Canyon with a paper bag over your head. Ooh, right? Right? So don't worry, right? Don't worry, be happy. There's really no point in it, because you're going to miss the positive things like Ronald McDonald House. I thought you were going to say, and we're right across the street from a McDonald's. No, we're right across the street from the hospital. Yeah, I know. She's like, yes, we won't say that on the air, because you just gave kudos to Ronald McDonald. But yes. Before we get to the topic, let's continue and finish our breakfast together. Let's see. What else are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for so I'm gonna just stick with Chloe right now, and grateful for all the doctors. I'm gonna just do a whole bunch. I'm gonna be grateful for her doctor's team, her surgeon, and everyone here, because they were amazing, because she did have a complication that they've only seen one other time. So that was pretty interesting. So I'm grateful for them. I'm also grateful the nurses here have been like amazing, and she got discharged actually today. So it was just amazing. We still have to stay for a couple more days, but she did get discharged, and they were discharging her so that I could be on with you. So that way it was like, they were like rushing to get her out. So kudos to them. That was awesome. And the last thing I'm going to say is that they're amazing also in the fact that CHOP and Ohio are working together. So it's nice that they all collab. So those are my gratefulness for everybody out there who is collabing and helping Chloe. So
yes.
And get her back to her twin sister, who is desperately waiting for her to come home. So although her twin was with us for most of it, her twin was with us, but we've been gone for a week, and now she's ready for her to come home. So
what's your other twin's name? It's not Sarah. That's my other daughter.
It's Ashley.
Okay. Ashley. They'll be home soon.
Yes.
And I'm just going to leave the gratitudes right there, because they are so good. And I am encouraging y'all who are beaching and moaning about medical technology or the vaccine or COVID and all of that bullshit talkie to turn your attention and focus and choose to be grateful for the great work that the medical community does, how advanced technology is to have things like a gastric pacemaker. I mean, that sounds like super high science to be able to, help something that came from a virus. Like, this was not a genetic thing. So y'all, there's like the whole show right there. So whole focus on that. Let's go to the bottom of the bun. What do you like about yourself? We do this because I believe the attention on mental health has been great, but it has almost activated the sense of what can someone else do for my mental health? Whether it's, going to drugs, pharmaceutical and illegal, all those kinds of things. How can you take care and at least take responsibility for things you can control as far as your mental health? And one of those things is looking for love in all the wrong places. I want you to not ask who likes me. Instead, ask yourself, what do you like about yourself? And that's why we do this bottom of the butt exercise. So I'll start with, I appreciate my ability to apologize. Again, yesterday's show, we did Mental Health Matter Monday, and I was just telling Frank, I had all these, happy 88 tools on how to have good relationships, and I had just, used my own tools to get out of a little kerflucker. That's not a bad word. Yesterday, and then sure enough, I must have lot of attraction. It brought in more, so I had to start the day with more apologies. But there's something about feeling better after the apology, when you actually own your stuff. So I appreciate my ability to apologize. I don't like it, but after I go through the whole F you, it's not my fault, I'm gonna screw you, I'm never gonna talk to you again. Once I get through that and out the other end and I can look at my part, then it feels a lot better. But believe me, I'm gonna think twice about doing those kinds of shows. Because I hate practicing what I teach. What do you appreciate about yourself?
I appreciate that something that we're going to look in, something similar to what we're going to talk about today. I could look in the good and find something good in most situations, I could say. So I can normally find the positive in something, even when things really are bad. I seem to find the positive, at least something positive out of each thing.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I appreciate that I can cut myself some slack and not, I try not to beat myself up quite as much as I used to.
That's good. I appreciate that I'm going to say, I stick to my guns of everything, and I still work out every single day, haven't missed a day. So I stick to what I preach. So I appreciate that I practice what I preach.
Awesome. I appreciate that I am no fear. I'll just do it. I live by the gospel according to Nike. Just do it.
I think I'm somewhat similar. I feel like for me, I don't know that it's no fear at all, but I would definitely, if anyone who knows me would also say that I'm pretty fearless, and I feel like I can get through anything, and I can definitely no one's gonna pass me, and I'm gonna be there to defend myself, kind of thing.
Yeah. Perfect. One more. I appreciate that I try to let's go I appreciate that I am a fashionista. Did you see my Christmas sweater? I don't know if this qualifies as an ugly one necessarily. This one has sounds, if you can see. And
there you go. Yes, very cute.
Yeah, he tingles. He actually his nose used to light up, but the battery. This honestly, this sweater is 20 some years old, but I'm ageless, so I must have started wearing it when I was a teen. But one more from you.
All right. I appreciate about myself that I'm just easygoing, that I can kind of go with the flow.
Sounds great. And that is it for Breakfast with Dr. Marissa and
Beth Linder-Moss.
Here on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and of course my YouTube TV channel, which is now well past the 2,000 subscriber mark. Thank you very much. And I think 303,000 views. So thank you so much for proving those wrong who said a show about positive things would never last. And 11 and a half years later, y'all were wrong. But the ones that are listening are right because they're the ones that are making this happen. So thank you very much for joining us for breakfast. If you do this discipline for 28 consecutive days, I promise you, you will have a completely different life and sandwich your day in the most positive way. All righty, here we go. What's the topic for today? Beth Linder-Moss, co-host with the mostest, and I actually did not, since she's not here every week, I'm going to give you a short bio on her because she is definitely someone to be reckoned with. She's the author of an Amazon best-selling book called Think Healthy, Be Healthy, and hosts a weekly national syndicated podcast. In addition to this one, Miss Linder-Moss is a certified health and wellness coach, certified personal and group fitness trainer, certified sports nutritionist, and an exercise physiologist, having earned her Bachelor of Science degree from Penn State University. Beth has helped thousands take positive steps in their journey to a healthier life through the written word, social media, one-on-one training, and group sessions. Please welcome back to my studio from Ohio at a Ronald McDonald House in the middle of a medical hiccup with her daughter, Chloe, Beth Linder-Moss. Okay, now you can introduce the topic.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. All right. So what I thought we should talk about today is, the holidays are right here and we all make these lots of excuses at this point where it's about making excuses as to why we shouldn't be healthy at this point and why we don't need to be healthy at this point, whether it's not that like healthy, I should say, but like why we don't want to stick to the healthy route of fitness and nutrition. But what I want to do is take a look at, instead of making excuses, let's call them obstacles, right? And let's figure out how we can take each obstacle and make that and turn that into opportunities, right? So again, the positivity, right? So we're going to take an obstacle and let's turn it around, because what happens is when we already say, ugh, it's already mid-December, what's the sense at this point, right? And then we just start making excuses, and all these excuses turn into one big downward spiral. Then it comes January and we're like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe, now I'm going to start working out for the first time. I'm going to start eating healthy for the first time. But instead of us getting to this huge downward spiral, let's stop it now. And let's try and, turn everything around. Like, we don't have to, everyone's not going to all of a sudden by January 1st be fit and healthy, right? But at least we could take the little steps that it takes to start that way and be in a better mindset by the time some of these New Year's resolutions start coming up.
Yeah. My version of all that is, what is the alternative to holiday efforts or why bothers, which is like decaffeinated coffee. Why bother? And I definitely am guilty of the, I'm going to be eating at Thanksgiving. I might as well start with candy at Halloween. Or if I make it past Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming. I might as well. It's like an eating frenzy from October the 30th until, Boxing Day. Which is a Canadian version of Black Friday, for those of you who don't know. it is December 26th. And it's come up because I'm going to be spending Christmas in Australia, and they are used to be Commonwealth. And I was born in Canada, so I actually know Boxing Day do I know? Yeah. I mean, I knew it for the first, 17, 18 years of my life before I moved to the States. So I'm going to get to revisit Boxing Day. Although I've already had Black Friday here, it'll be two crazy shopping days instead of just one. All right, so we're exercising our switch muscle, our pivot muscle, our effort, making choices from our balance-centered selves. So, what is a common, an excuse or area that you want people to switch from to?
Well, so let's go over the most common ones. I figure, right? So I would say definitely one of the top most common when it comes to fitness. We'll do both. We'll do fitness and nutrition, but we'll do it separately. But fitness itself would be, I'm too tired, right?
I'm too tired. I resemble that.
I'm too tired. But the interesting thing is, what does exercise do? It doesn't make you as tired, and it helps to get you through your day. So when we turn that around and you say, well, I'm too tired to do it, but if you start to do it, even little bits, we talk about this in the past, whether it's, take your dog for a little bit of a longer walk, go all the way around the block instead of just to the corner, right? Or, taking the steps instead of the elevator, little things, right? That you can do. But exercise itself, the benefit of it is to help so you're not as tired.
Yeah. Perfect. How
about I just don't have time. Right?
I resemble that remark.
So there's so many ways around it. So these are lots of things that we have spoken about over the past long time that we've been doing this for a while, together. But I feel like it's so important to go over these things again as people are heading into New Year's resolutions. So,
especially if it's not taking.
Yes, true. So hopefully people will write in and be like, oh my God, I took some of your advice and I'm not in that spot this year. Right?
Yeah.
That would be amazing. So if anyone has taken the advice and started working out that wasn't working out or started eating healthy, I would love to hear from you, actually.
Yes.
But I'm too busy. Well, there's a lot we could do about that. So one of the things is either you wake up a little earlier, which I know goes into I'm too tired, but you work out after work or after the kids go to sleep is one way. I will say that for the past 11 years, I've been waking up at 4 a.m. so I can go to work. So your body does get used to it. And then it's on a natural alarm clock. Not that you have to do it at 4 a.m., but I'm just saying. But the other thing you could do is that you could do it at lunchtime. You could also split it up 3 times a day and do 10 minutes 3 times a day. So there's really I've also talked about as you're brushing your teeth, you could do squats, right? There's so many things that we could do as you're cooking in the kitchen. You could also do lunges across your kitchen. You could take bottles and do some bicep curls, and you could do tricep kickbacks and all these different things while you're in the kitchen while we're waiting for the water to boil or something to come out of the oven, things like that. So we could take the 10 minutes and find it 3 times a day and make it work. As long as you want it to work, we can definitely make it work.
Definitely. Yeah, that's something I have learned from you is that you can multitask your exercise. So one, I'm remembering that I have actually taken your advice on this. Instead of looking for the closest parking spot, is purposefully parking a little further away and doing a little bit of walk if I haven't done the exercise that day in the morning. Now, every other day I am in the gym. Yesterday, because the pool is now shut down for the winter and I'm not a polar bear, I added on an extra 40 minutes. So I added on an extra 13 minutes. So I did 53 minutes on 2 different bikes.
Nice. Congrats. That's awesome.
I knew you would be proud of me. But suffice it to say that every other days when I don't do it, like I'm going to physical therapy today, so I know I'm going to be doing some PT, pain and torture, with some of the muscles because I have scoliosis and two hips that got replaced, and hips don't lie. So I have to add on stuff knowing that, this is my day that I don't do all the cardio, but knowing, because when I tried to do the cardio and the PT, I almost killed myself. So, but today I will park a little further.
So you got to listen to your body, but that's what it is. Like, you're listening to it saying, I can't do all this at one time. So it's all right. Listen to your body. It's very important.
Yes.
Another thing I think that it is common is that I'm literally like just past the point. I'm just too out of shape. I've just gained too much weight. And what's the sense? And let's just throw the towel in. I'm already there. Right.
Yeah.
So what I say for a lot of that is that if you don't want to go to the gym, you don't have to go into a gym. You can look on, go onto my website, go onto my TikToks, go onto my Instagrams. You can find beginner workouts. You can go onto YouTube. So you could go on anything. You could do beginning things at your house, but you could also take those extra steps, go mall walking, look at the, just look at the all the displays that are out and stuff like that right now, right? Window shopping, things like that. Just go to the mall, do something that will get you started. Once you start, you'll feel so much better about yourself, and then you'll want to continue. I know it's hard, but like at this point, like I get maybe you don't, I mean, people say I don't want to go to the gym because I just am like just too far past it. And that's fine. But there's so many other ways that you can help yourself. So use these things. Grab my book. You can go on my book, and my book has tons of ideas for you as well. But you can definitely, take the small steps. No one's saying that you need to go from 0 to 100 overnight. That's not even what I believe in. I believe in taking the steps to get there. So that you feel good about yourself, so that you don't go from that 0 to 100, which is like those, magic fixes and those crazy things that happen that you lose 20 pounds in, 10 days. Like these are ways that we can make it more of a lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say is the most important thing during the holidays? Is it more eating or is it more workout? Like if you had to, not that I'm sure you're going to say both, but it's always the question that I get asked, is it more about the eating or is it more about the working out? Because you hear people who work out and don't lose anything. And there's a whole industry now saying, well, you're not working out the right way, or you're doing all this cardio and it's not doing anything for you. It's more important that, you don't eat all these things. And then other people say, it's got nothing to do with eat. You have to keep moving your body, blah, 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 blah. So that's
So I would say that instead of looking at the fitness as a weight loss during the holidays, sometimes you have to look at it as a stress reliever. So in that aspect, if the holidays are super stressful for you, then, working out and doing meditation and that kind of stuff, I would say is like super important. It's also so important that I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to eat what you want during the holidays. It's more of take a bite of it, and of that one thing that you've been dying to have, or two things that you've been, your traditional stuff, but having a bite of it and then filling your plate with the rest of it to be on the healthier side. So that's how so it's kind of hard to really pinpoint it, because I think everybody has different things that they're going through. And for some people, like, having everybody together may not be stressful, and that's fine. So then they don't have to worry about the stressful aspect of it. And they just worry about, oh my God, there's so much food here. And there's so many desserts that happen during the holidays that, you take the bite and say, oh, that was really good. And then I move on and have fruit or whatever, or whatever a healthier choice might be, but not to completely, take out everything out of your diet during the holidays. I would say like then you just resent everything, and it's going to backfire.
Yeah, for sure. So, what would you say are healthy alternatives to all the. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest and confess. I have done a little bit of the holiday effort, and I've had more flour probably in the last 2 days than I've had in the last 6 months, because it's like, oh well, I know that our holiday family dinner is going to be on Thursday because I'm going to be out of town for the actual day. My sisters are coming in, and pumpkin pie. They're going to make fresh bread. All of those things. Am I better? I don't know if I can do the one bite thing, which we talked about the last time.
Then you need to get to the gym.
Okay. So if I am going to have the food, then I have to do more at the gym to compensate.
Correct. I think that's a better way to balance it for sure, because you can't, if you don't try to balance it out like a little bit, then the weight is going to come on really fast, kind of thing. Even, so we don't want that to happen. So at least you could try to balance it out. If you're not, if you're just like, hands down, I'm going to my holiday dinner and I'm eating what I want, like even, potato latkes, if you make it traditionally, they're sitting in oil. If you make, your Christmas dinners, there are all types of dishes that are sitting in oils and using flour and butter and all these things, right? So all of this stuff, we need to at least balance it out. So let's get to the gym, or let's go for a walk outside, or let's do something that is going to help to burn some of these calories. Weightlifting, let's do something that we can, it doesn't always have to be cardio. Like you said, hey, listen, we got to build muscle. The more muscle you build, the quicker your metabolism is, hands down. So we got it. Doing cardio doesn't necessarily build your muscle. So we need to get those weights, those bands, those water bottles, those cans, whatever we need to get them in, because that's what's going to help burn when we want you to burn some of those calories and fats out.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. What about getting on the scale? Because I know that we talked about this a long time ago.
Yeah.
Two-way or not two-way? That is the question. I've been completely avoiding because I know. Excuse me. I know. Sometimes you'll do anything for a blessing. I know that I have. When I think that I've lost weight, I want to weigh myself, and it keeps me. I get excited if there's no weight gain or some weight loss. But when I know that I've not been eating well, and I already am beating myself up, the last thing I want to do is get on the scale and see it validated. It's kind of that saying, better be thought a fool than to open your mouth and confirm it, or better to be thought, thin than to get on the scale and disconfirm it. So what are your thoughts on that? And before we do that, I forgot to do station ID. If you've just tuned in and you're wondering what's going on in the studio today, it is Take My Advice. I'm not using a Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, the station that leaves no listener behind now for 25 years. We are celebrating our quarter century anniversary. So I'm glad you're here. Please, if you'd like to watch and listen and not just listen in the car, don't stream in the car and comment in the cashiers gallery. I do see a lot of eyeballs, but not very much chatter today. That's okay. But if you have any questions, you have a fitness expert here and a health and wellness expert today. If you have any questions, please do put them in the chat. Free subscribe to my YouTube channel, where you will get special series like Step Up to Your Best Life with Dr. Marissa and
Beth Linder-Moss.
All right. So back to what was my question was, should I step on the scale?
Okay. So I think that's kind of like a loaded question, to be honest with you. Because I will say that I think it's a good idea to have an idea of where you started, so that you will know, like, that you will need to lose it, right? Most likely. But I wouldn't suggest, like as you're also saying, is that you already feel bad about yourself and you already know, so maybe like I don't suggest anyone steps on the scale daily anyway. I always say step on the scale, at max once a week kind of thing. I even suggest even longer most of the time, to be honest with you, because your weight fluctuates all the time and it can, then you just get so engulfed in that. And there's no reason to be engulfed on that one number. There's a lot to it that goes into that number. So let's not get, too involved in that number. I don't want you to, so I would say that if you're already feeling bad about yourself, maybe instead of taking the food and keep shoving it in and working the opposite direction, that maybe you could also say, all right, I know I probably overate over the past 2 weeks. Let's take a step and work towards a healthier nutrition, and let's start getting moving a little bit more. And then once you feel a little bit better, hopefully not, like I'm not saying wait months to get on the scale, but maybe take that extra week or two, take it off, feel good about yourself before you get on that scale. There's no reason to make you feel worse about yourself when you're already down.
Sounds good. So I won't, which is what I've been doing.
I do think you need to gauge where you are, though. I'm not going to lie. So, if you really feel it, I think there should be a gauge, but I don't think that you have to make yourself feel worse. I do think that you have to start to understand that you need to get yourself more in control of what you're putting in your mouth or not exercising, and get that part more in control. It's the same thing like when we take all these, I'm going to call them obstacles, right? And we're going to realize that when we can find that positiveness or that opportunity that we could get from there, you will then realize that you have more control, which is huge. Most people want control over how we feel and what we're doing. So again, we're going to try and get that, turn that back into control that you have. And it doesn't have to be these huge things. It's like steps that you might have to take to get there. But when you know that you can turn that excuse into something that you can now control, I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. Well, my added thing this year is that I'm going back on tour, book tour, and book signing and speaking and teaching Tai Chi in Australia. So I leave the 23rd, and I'm going to be gone for almost 4 weeks, right? First break ever. I'm still going to be on the air. We're going to have great, shows, same series, just one from the vaults, one of the best ofs. So you'll get to have a show with Beth, and you'll get all of your favorite series. So I can still say consecutive on the air on camera, just in case you were wondering. But knowing that there's apparently really good Chinese food in Australia, and I combine work with pleasure all the time. So one of the other reasons why I'm going is my favorite niece, Christina, who her and her husband moved to Australia. His parents were retiring and much better at taking care of their new baby that is due on January 8th than I would be if they moved to LA, even though I wanted them to. But, knowing that is another, and I say this because I was talking to, I think it was my bonus sister, about the head games around weight. So you're the expert on this. It's one thing for you to say, I work out, put the moose on the table here. I work out once an hour a day, no matter what. It's in my MO. I do that. And kudos to you. And for some of us, it's just not that simple. Okay.
I totally get that. I say it all the time. I understand that I'm like not the norm.
Yeah. So when you're not the norm, like me, and you honestly it's so easy to say, I'll just worry about it later, or I'll go on a diet in January. I'll restrict myself then. Like is there any way to get off of that yo-yo? I think I've gained and lost like 1,000 pounds my entire life. because of this, F it, and then, oh, shiitake, F it, oh, shiitake. It's like this exhausting, and it's all around. We were talking because the time that I felt the most thin, and I actually, one point in my entire life, did I look at my body and say, okay, this is it. It was not when I was modeling. It was not when I was, it was during the divorce diet when you could literally see my bones. I had on a True Religion, maybe like 20 size jeans, and you could see my hip bone sticking out and then I went to Chinese reflexology. I was on tour in China, and I remember the guy who was doing the reflexology, and he said, your skin and bones, right? And it made me happy because that's so effed up. And I remember looking down with those True Religion jeans, seeing all that, and I went, I look good. So is there any...
The best advice I could say would be, and I say this a lot, is remember the why you started. Remember why you wanted to feel good. Remember why you started this health journey. And hopefully when you get off track, you could get back on track by remembering the whys. We all have obstacles, and those obstacles, I'm sure you've seen this quote, and the quote is, I don't remember the quote right off but it's like a river runs through a rock, but it doesn't go, it's going over, around, under, any which way you can, kind of thing. So basically it's persistence, right? As to how it goes through. So any way that we can try to be as consistent or persistent as possible, and remember the why. We all listen, everyone gets off track. I know I'm not the norm. I am well aware of that. I deal with a lot of, I have a lot of clients, a lot of members, a lot of everything, right? And I'm well aware that I'm not. But I do remind them as to why did you want to start? Let's go back to that. And can we get back to getting on track? Even if you're not back at 100%, I would rather be back part of it so that you can get back on that journey to go, listen, this is all a journey for everybody. This is a journey. Health and wellness is absolutely a journey, right? And our journeys will take us in so many different directions, those roads that go off, but then they come back, and we got to get ourselves back. So I think that you have to remember why. When I start feeling bad about myself, and I didn't go to the gym, and I haven't been eating healthy, it's the holidays, and I gave myself a break, but then I probably gave myself too much of a break. I need to get back on track. It's okay, so why did I want to get back? I felt so good. And remember how you felt when you were starting to feel good, whether you made it to the end. There is no end of the journey, but maybe you went to the top of towards the top of a journey. But when you were on that journey, how did you feel? You felt good about yourself, probably. And it felt good. You have to celebrate every little win. That's how I feel. Doesn't mean you go out and celebrate by eating or something or drinking, right? But we can celebrate. Like I've said, you could get a jar and you could put money in it, and you take that money and go buy yourself, a nice new outfit or some exercise clothing or whatever it might be, a candle. I don't know, whatever it is that makes you feel good, right? But remember the whys and celebrate every time you pass an obstacle, every time you did something that you are so proud of, celebrate it, and then remember that so that you can get back on track.
Okay. I'm going to balance that out and put the moose on the table of my unrealistic expectations of being able to look like I did when I was modeling and before 2 kids and before all of that, and not, there's a part of what I think is healthy, which is I want to be happy where I am. Now, caveat, I don't want to be overweight and hurting my knees and hurting my hips and, feeling gross and puffy and non-attractive. But on the other hand, what I just told you, when I thought I was attractive, and that was I think I was like 90 pounds, which is ridiculous and not healthy. But the balance is, where do I say, my body seems to want to be around this weight, which is still 20, 30 pounds more than I want, right? But is there part of me that needs to be okay with not get off the hamster wheel, get off the yo-yo line, get off the tug of war that's with myself?
I think that you have to look at, there's a lot to it. Right. I mean, psychologically there's a lot to it, but besides that, like, are your blood sugars good? Is your cholesterol good? Like, let's make sure, like, just say you are 10 pounds over where maybe you want to be, right? But your cholesterol is good, your blood sugar, all of the rest of your health is good. Are you 10 pounds over because of the way, the BMI scale is, like, lots of people who are athletes say their muscle takes them, because they're so muscular. And that same, we've talked about this before, but the BMI scale, which is what the doctors go by, if you're super muscular, you're going to end up on a higher end of the BMI where you might not be in that. So, like, there's things to, like, look at it. Are you going over because of the amount of muscle you have? Like, if you are healthy and you are in a healthy weight, and even though your healthy weight might be, the BMI also, you might even be within your BMI, but you're on one side of the BMI versus the other side of the BMI. If you are in a healthy weight, then you have to, like, just get the number out. If you feel good about yourself, you're exercising, you're eating healthy, and you didn't get to that number, who cares? Like, if I tell people all the time, like, if people knew, like, the amount I weighed, whatever, they would be shocked, because, like, I weigh more than most people think I weigh. And I don't get on a scale because I don't care about the number. I care about, like, how I feel, and I care about how I look in my clothing to me also, right? Do my clothes fit? Did I have, like, some people have, like, their heavy jeans or their, not so heavy jeans and whatever, like, are you fitting into the jeans that you want to fit into? Did you get out of those jeans? If you ended up going in the wrong direction, maybe you have to look at it again and say, well, I was wearing these jeans for the past 5 years, and now those jeans don't fit me anymore because I got bigger. Well, then maybe you want to, inch back to where you were and not go for the heavier jeans, right?
Yeah, except that I had a pair of heavy jeans that were so gorgeous. They had embroidery on the side. And when I lost all that weight, I gave them away, and now I'm kicking myself because I gained the weight back. And I love those pants, and they're gone. So,
although I do tell people to get rid of their heavy clothes, like, once you've maintained your weight for a while, not when you go from, like, the extremes of a lot of stuff, but once you learn, like, the healthy balance, people's weight is going to fluctuate. I said they do, but, like, you normally don't fluctuate from, like, I'm going to say, like, a size 10 to a size 14 as much. You should be able to fluctuate your weight, but still pretty much stay within the same sizes,
yeah. I fluctuate from a 0, which is when I had that unhealthy hips don't lie, and I think like a 22 at one point. So that's a big fluctuation.
That's very big, yeah. So you went from one extreme to the other extreme, basically, right?
Several times, and that's the thing where maybe I need to look at this the way that you were talking, that is just going to be for the rest of my life. It's kind of depressing because I want to get there.
See, I just think if you continue to celebrate the wins that you have, then you can get to where, if it's a realistic number, let's make that very clear. The number has to be, if you're looking at the scale, the number has to be a realistic number. Like, you should not be weighing 90 pounds. In someone's eyes, that is not realistic. They might think that they should be weighing 90 pounds. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
well, even 120, 115, 120, that was my modeling weight. And so
but you weren't healthy then, you even said. So,
yeah, but
right?
That's what I'm saying. It's a mind game.
It is. It definitely is a mind game. But what I like to, we have to set realistic goals, knowing that realistically and healthy wise, you should never lose more than 2 pounds a week. And that's 8 pounds a month. And then once you get to that point of starting to lose, it comes off much slower. So you're not really going to be able to sustain that. So that's like where you have to also realize that let's be realistic in what I'm trying to attain also, because, we want everyone to stay healthy while they're doing it. And in order to stay healthy, we also have to make sure that we are within the normal limits, because somebody might go too low, right? Also, because we're only talking about, a lot of times we talk about the people who are going too high, but there are other people that go too low as well, who go to an unhealthy weight as well. So we got to make sure that we have that balance. It's all, again, it's all about balance.
All about balance.
It is. It's all about the balance. And it's like,
That's
and the
line.
people who are trying to get smaller, again, it's all about balance. It's still about balance. Either way, we have to talk about the balance, and we can, you can get to realistic goals for sure. And when you get off track, just remember why you started, and remember how you felt when you were on track, and how good you felt about yourself when you were on track.
Thank you for the reminder, Beth Linder-Moss. We are at the end of the hour. As usual, we could do this for a lot longer. I'm just sending you the best love and wishes and wisdom for your doctors, for Chloe, your twin, and all of that medical stuff. It's been, it's always wonderful having you on as co-host. And tune in tomorrow. We're doing our holiday sing-along. You're going to hear me sing, come out of Lounge Lizard retirement, as well as my co-host of Doctors in the House, Tiffany Moore, Dr. Tiffany Tate, whose daughter's also coming to sing. Her son's coming to play the oboe. So come tune in tomorrow. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through, inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Beth.
Have a great day.